BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, our daily look at an area football team and the key questions we'll be looking at about that team in our August 16th preseason preview here at Big Country Preps. I'm with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom, and tonight, Dan, we're looking at the Cooper Cougars.
Yeah, and this is a Cougars team that was 6-6 last year, made it to the second round of the playoffs, and they return a fair group from that. 21 of their 49 lettermen return, including 6 starters on both sides of the football. So a pretty solid nucleus to build around. They'll be relying on call-ups from a 5-5 JV team. I know they're expecting or hoping at least to improve this year, and they have that opportunity. But they are going to have some things go right to do that. We'll talk about what some of the biggest questions they'll be facing are here in a few minutes.
All right. And before we take a look at the Cooper Cougars, we want to remind you YouTubers to hit the subscribe button. Also hit the little bell that'll pop up once you've hit the subscribe button, so you'll get notifications each and every time we have a new podcast here at Big Country Preps.
All right, and with that, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's talk about this Cougars team and some of the questions we'll be answering here in our preseason preview. One of the big ones for me is on the offensive side about the skill position players. They've got a really good running back, a very dynamic running back in Daniel Bray, who had a big year for him last year, over 1,000 total yards as a sophomore. But as far as the quarterback position and the wide receiver position go, they were hit hard by graduation. Chris Warren took almost all of their snaps last year behind center, and they lost 3 really good receivers in Cam Herron, DeAndre Ralston, and Malik Jackson. All of them they lost to graduation. So my question is, what are we going to see from that passing game where you expect Austin Cummins, who was their backup last year, to take over at the quarterback position? They do return one receiver in Jalen Parker, who had 20 catches for him last year. So there's not the cover's not completely bare there, but they're going to have to find some playmakers, particularly in that passing game. Cummins is going to have to come along quickly at the quarterback position. They're going to have to find some receivers around Parker. And that part I think is going to be interesting because they're going to have a passing dynamic to get that running game going.
I look at Cooper as a tough team to gauge because everything's right down the middle. 6-6 back, a moderate number of lettermen back. However, I think there's one thing that they've got in their corner. That's a very talented junior class, and they also have a talented sophomore class that the Cooper staff likes these two classes coming up quite a bit. If they can find youngsters from those two classes that can really contribute to the overall team effort, they have a shot at taking a step forward. But I think those are the big question marks. How much can the junior and sophomores, contribute this year? That if they're ready to contribute and step up, we might see a step forward.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of those that have already gotten extensive playing time, one being Dyson Davis, the defensive end, who was the co-newcomer of the year last year as a freshman. He's a kid that's already getting a lot of D1 attention, really good at the defensive end, kind of an edge rusher position. And that kind of leads me to the last question, defensively. I think that may be the area where I think this Cooper team has the greatest potential for growth. They were solid last year, allowed about 26 points per game in the regular season against a tough schedule. But I think they've got an opportunity to be even better defensively. And if they are, that'll take some pressure off the offense, which will be probably finding its way a little earlier with some newcomers in some key positions. So that's my question, is just what kind of improvement can they make defensively, and who are going to emerge around the playmakers? I mean, obviously Dyson Davis is one of those, but who are some other guys that are going to be kind of those leaders of that defense this year?
All right, with that, let's take a quick look at Cooper's schedule for 2023, beginning with the non-district portion. The Cougars will start on August 24th at Keller. Then on September 1st, they'll face arch rival Abilene at Shotwell Stadium, as always. They'll have San Angelo Central on the road on September the 8th. They'll have Lubbock Coronado at home on the 15th. And then a home date with Odessa Permian on September 22nd before jumping into a bye week and then district play.
Yeah, 5 tough non-district games, as is often the case for Cooper. That leads them into that bye week on the 29th, followed by their district opener, a huge game at home against Wichita Falls Rider right off the bat on October 5th. The following week, they travel to Palo Duro on the 13th. Then they come back home to play Plainview on the 20th, go on the road on the 26th, the Thursday, to play Lubbock High, and then wrap up at home against Wiley on November 3rd in what should be a really interesting game as well. So if Cooper wants to play for a district championship, get back at that level, you're looking at that Rider game and the Wiley game that bookend that district schedule. Those are 2 big games in what should be a really fun, competitive schedule throughout. I mean, this is a team that's going to have to grow quickly through that non-district schedule because there are no gimmies there.
All right. Well, that's about time to wrap up tonight's Countdown to Two-A-Days edition, the Cooper Cougars. But before we do that, we want to remind you that on August 16th, that is the big day here at Big Country Preps. That's the day that we release our annual preseason football preview, which will feature 40 team previews for 11-man plus a 6-man preview as well. We'll have more than 40 player features. We'll have opinion pieces, we'll have predictions, we'll have video, we'll have stats. We will have a ton of material, the most comprehensive look at area football from any media source in Texas, bar none. Don't forget to sign up August 16th.
In the meantime, thank you for joining us for this episode of our Countdown to Two-A-Days series. And make sure you come back tomorrow when we wrap up our series with the Abilene High Eagles here at BigCountryPreps.com.